arise, O compatriots, Nigerians come again.
I'm Dr. Sota Omoigui, one of the co-authors of the national anthem that we wrote in 1976. And one of the lines that we wrote, which is the first line, is "Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria's call obey." And that line is even more pertinent today when we see a country where nobody is accountable for anything. My mother served Nigeria her whole life in many different capacities. In her teaching and educational career, and as well as in her legal career. She retired twice, one as a vice principal of Federal Government Girls College, Benin, and in the second retirement as a magistrate in Lagos State Judiciary, where she was chairman of the Lagos Rent Edict Tribunal. But yet, despite her service to the country, at the time she needed the country the most, when she was shot by a gang of violent thieves who trailed her from the bank, the country failed her. In 1976 and before, we had pipe-borne water on the streets in Benin. I remember that as a child, growing up, coming to Benin in the 60s, in Lagos in the 70s. There was nothing like a borehole. We had landlines that were functional. We had hospitals that were functioning. We had educational institutions that were functioning. We had a national airline, Nigeria Airways, that was the pride of this country. After we wrote the national anthem, a few years after that, after I finished my medical school and served in the youth corps, I left for the United States. I've been gone from Nigeria for 30 years. And when I come back, I see a country that is a shadow of itself. I see a country where nobody is held accountable for anything. I see a country where there's no longer any pipe-borne water. Each person has to sink his own borehole, and the masses are left without any potable water. I see a country where customers can leave a bank, they are trailed by robbers, they are shot, injured, maimed, and nobody in the bank is held accountable. I see a country where hospitals have no running water, where patients have to bring their own water into the hospital, where an institution like UBTH, University of Benin Teaching Hospital, has no running water in the ICU, the intensive care unit, where other teaching hospitals, including University of Nigeria Teaching Hospital, University College Hospital Ibadan, have no running water. I see a country where the fire services are incapable of putting out any fire. Most recently, a major private investment, the Hallmark Mall, burned to the ground because the fire service had no diesel to respond to the fire. They came several hours later and couldn't pump any water. I see a country where politicians amass large amounts of wealth and are not held accountable, where you have EFCC that sends media reports on an ongoing basis of how much monies have been recovered, and yet nobody's in jail. I see a country where legislatures forfeit their oversight responsibilities and are just interested in sharing money. I see a country where, like in Edo State, where the legislator votes to allocate 200 million naira to the outgoing governor to build any house of his choice, and 100 million naira to the deputy governor, the ex-deputy governor, while their fire service has no water and no diesel to respond to a fire. I see a country with a culture of impunity. I see a country where institutions are functioning almost like a war-torn country like Somalia and Afghanistan. Nigeria is a shadow of itself because it's been devastated by greed, corruption, lack of love of country. And I say again to Nigerians, in the single line of the national anthem, arise, O compatriots, Nigeria's call obey. You must hold your leaders accountable at every level. If you're in a hospital and your doctors, your nurses, your staff, your hospital has no running water, you must hold the heads of that hospital to account. If you're in the police and you do not have any diesel for your vehicles, you have no pens, no papers, no pencils to write your report, you must hold your leadership accountable. And if the budget has been embezzled, but at any level, those people need to be held accountable. We cannot have a police that can't respond to crime. Meanwhile, the governor is taking 1 billion naira in security vote every month. Nigerians, you must arise and you must take your country back. Thank you.
Nigerian